I'm John Hand. I'm a sophomore journalism student at Marquette with minors in digital media and history. And I'm from the greater Boston area, a town called Reading, about 15 minutes north of the city.
When did you know you wanted to be a sports reporter?
I don't know if there's a specific moment exactly I knew I wanted to be a sports reporter, but I knew growing up in Boston, being around sports so much that I quickly fell in love. I'm watching the Patriots every Sunday. My mood in the summer is dictated by whether the Red Sox are winning or losing. And I hate to say this on camera, I really shouldn't even say this at all, but my athletic ability kind of plateaued, and therefore I knew I wanted to be around sports and I wasn't going to do it as a professional athlete, so reporting was the next best option for me.
How did you start getting involved in the field of journalism?
I first really got involved in journalism when I was about 7 years old, believe it or not. I would get I'd get my desk in my room, the family camcorder, and just record myself talking sports. The tapes are probably hilarious and they're ridiculous, but that's when I sort of, everything was starting to come to me that I wanted to be in sports. And I first got my official position when I was a sophomore in high school, working for my school newspaper, and from there things started evolved a little bit. I got a job with the high school football team's website. They just created it and wanted to put some articles up, so I'd cover the games for them and write there. And then the local sports editor of my daily county newspaper saw my articles, and they had a spot open to cover my high school's boys and girls ice hockey teams, and he offered me the job, and I did that for my junior and senior year as well. So I was able to get a lot of opportunities early on.
What did you learn from that early experience?
From that early experience, I really learned a lot, and I was able to learn through the mistakes I was making. My first article I ever wrote for that football website was a novel, basically. I was describing every single play that was happening, every down, every tackle. Now I've gotten to the point where in about 500 words or less, I can describe a full game. And so how to pick apart a game, how to decide this is a crucial moment that people need to read about. And I learned another important thing I learned was how to interview coaches. Coaches can be heated after games where they had just lost, in excruciating fashion. So how do you ask that tough question without really pissing them off to the point where they're not going to give you anything at all? So those little things like that, like I said, from starting when I was younger, I've really gotten the chance to learn and grow because I've had so much opportunity.
What do you do with student media at Marquette?
So at Marquette, I'm part of the Marquette Wire, so I write on the sports desk for the Marquette Tribune. I cover women's basketball and women's volleyball this year, and last year I covered men's and women's tennis. In addition to that, I'm also part of Marquette TV. I am a sports producer there.
Why did you get involved with student media at Marquette?
So I'd done student media basically. I'd done my student media in high school, like I had mentioned, and I knew when I came to Marquette that it was another thing I wanted to get involved in. I'm obviously majoring in journalism, and I believe, like I said before, the best way to learn is by doing, especially in journalism.
What have you learned from your experience at Marquette through student media?
I've just continued my knowledge of reporting has just continued to grow. And there's every single story I do, I think there's little things I take away that I can do this better next time. I can do, I shouldn't do this again. So, there's a million examples I could go through. For example, on this last one, just simple things. I was covering a basketball game last night, and I had to get video of the post-game recap, and I'm trying to switch to each player, and I'm trying to get the right frame as they're talking, and I came back and I looked at the video, and it's shaky, and that's horrible. And so I know next time, even if the framing isn't perfect, just leave it still, because people are less likely to notice that than a shaky camera. So that might seem like a minute thing, but there's so many those little things build up and really help you expand your knowledge.
Why do you enjoy writing?
For me, writing is my outlet, and oftentimes I'll hear athletes talk about going to the gym and shooting, or going to the batting cage and hitting baseballs, whatever it may be, is that being their way of kind of almost expressing themselves and doing whatever an outlet does for you. And for me, that really is writing, and I need it in a way. When I'm on break away from writing and doing student media and writing stories, I get a little stir crazy towards the end because I haven't been able to produce anything. I haven't been able to put that passion and energy I have for writing, and it does drive me crazy. When I write a good story, it's unbelievable feeling, one of the best feelings I've ever gotten. And when I know a story didn't quite click, or I knew I could have written it better, or put this quote in, or take this out, man, that really will bug me for a while.
Why sports?
So, like I said, growing up around Boston, sports were just, I was immersed in that culture. And I knew that I wanted to stay around that. However, I wouldn't call myself the biggest sports lover. I know guys on the sports desk here at Marquette that like sports more than I do. When I get back to my room at night and there's some basketball game on that I don't really have any affiliation with, I'm probably not going to watch it. So for me, the sports really comes into why I like journalism, which is the people and the stories. And I think that the sports world provides some of the most unique people you'll ever see that end up telling great stories and having great stories for me to tell, I should say. And there's not many people that wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go exercise and practice a sport, and that kind of crazy produces great stories. And I love being able to tell these people's stories and write about them.
Where do you hope your career goes?
I hope my career goes where I can continue to produce content that I like and for as long as I can and get paid for it. That's really all I want. But at the end of the day, the institutions I would be Sports Illustrated or ESPN. Sports Illustrated because I'd love to continue to write feature stories. Each week when I get the issue, it's one of my favorite days of the week because I just peel through the pages, just salivating over the articles I'm about to read. And then ESPN it's the mothership. It's every kid grew up watching SportsCenter and watching games all across ESPN, and for me, dreaming of being on there. So being able to say I got to that place would be absolutely amazing.
Thank you for your time, John.